And we are live. Please let me know in the comments if everything works well. So, welcome to the show. It is my first live stream, so yeah, don't be too hard on me. I'll promise I'll get better at this. This all came by Steve McDougall's suggestion. He said, hey, you should go live stream your podcast. So here I am. I've been absent lately and also have a good reason for it. I became a father. So, as you can imagine, I have everything changed, everything new. So, I just enjoy this experience. So, I'll also be off for 2 weeks. So, expect next episode to be late February. Yeah, so enough about me. I have a great guest today, as you expected already. Set up the bar high from the beginning, so you'll probably know all my guests without any introduction. But anyways, even if it doesn't need any introduction, I'll try to just give you a brief description. He's speaking at conferences since 2015. You may know him from his Laracon talks. He also is teaching through his courses, either if it's PHP, Laravel, or how to master PHP Storm. Today, he will share his experience and thoughts about the life of a freelance Laravel developer and ways to earn money, either on the side, having a side project, or taking client work, and all by using the tools you may already know and use, like PHP and Laravel. So, without further ado, welcome Christoph Rumpel.
Hello.
Hey, man.
Thank you so much for inviting me, and being the first guest of your first live stream here, also an honor for me. So thank you so much.
Yeah, I think I picked the correct guest because you're also streaming. You're also creator of Lara Streamers. So you know a lot about streaming. You also gave me some advices for these live streams. So I think it's the best way to start a live stream podcast.
Yeah, and you did it really well. Also, the design and the layout already looks pretty cool. So for your first stream, this is already impressive. So
Yeah,
you did well here.
thank you. I'll try to improve it as we go. So just my first try. If you see any mistakes, don't be too hard on me.
No, no, I won't for sure.
Okay, Christoph, can you give the our listeners or viewers on YouTube just a brief, short description about yourself for the ones who may don't know you, or what you do, and anything that you think is relevant about yourself?
Yeah, sure. So my name is Christoph Rumpel. I'm a web developer from Vienna in Austria. I've been now developing for around, I think it's almost 10 years. I have to look it up if it's already 10 years, but around 10 years. Before that, I tried to make a living from a rock band, which I had for like 10 years, but it was pretty cool. But it didn't end it like we hoped. So then I needed to get a real job, and already from the band, I already knew stuff like making a little bit of website or doing t-shirt designs and stuff
Mhm.
like that. So I first tried to, or I thought I would become a designer. Then I thought maybe I become someone who does videos, and then I ended up with programming. And I think since 9 years I'm now coding, mostly in PHP,
Mhm.
mostly with PHP and Laravel in the last years. And as you already mentioned, I share a lot of the things that I do about my journey, about the things that I learned. So I have a blog, I do streamings, I have courses which I sell. I try to be active in the community, which helped me a lot to grow. And now I try to give little bit back of the things that I learned. And I'm also a self-employed developer now. So this means the whole journey from me, from being employed to being self-employed to creating content, I try to share with everybody. And I think these are the things that I do, and maybe these are also the things that you know me from. And it's always fun to talk about those things, because in the last years a lot of things happened from me as well.
Mm-hmm. It's nice that you touched the freelancing side, because I wanted to talk next about your current situation. What do you do for work? How, I don't know, what is a day in your life looks like from a freelancer perspective, or yeah.
Yeah, so I'm now self-employed for, I think, let me check, I think almost 3 years now.
Hmm.
Before that, I was employed in an agency for some years, and then I went on my own and now have my own company. And since then, I'm doing freelancing, and since then, freelancing is my main income. So most of the money that I get is from freelancing, because yeah, that's the easiest way to earn some money, because you code for others and they pay you, and it's pretty straightforward. There are many companies out there looking for developers. Especially it has increased in the last years, so everybody feels like it's looking for developers. And also the last years, remotely working is also has becoming very big. So I think today it's quite easy to get freelance work. And
Hmm.
yeah, as I mentioned, this is my main income, and beside that I also have my own products. Currently, these are 2 video courses which I sell, and
Hmm.
from them I also make some money.
But before going freelancing, have you worked like a full-time job as a developer?
Yeah, so it was a full-time job. Um, the company which I think I was there for, I think like 5 or 6 years, and then before that I was in another agency also for 1 or 2 years. So yeah, I was used to the being fully employed, going to an
Hmm.
office for quite a long time. And yeah, transition also was pretty hard, yeah, because I liked the company which I worked. I liked being in a team. I liked going out to a different office and seeing the others. But still, I felt like something was missing for me, especially creating my own products. Is it a book, a course, or I'm also dreaming about my own SaaS project. So I always had this dream of creating my own stuff. And I felt like I didn't had enough time to do this being fully employed. And I thought about it for, I think, almost 2 years before I really decided to go
Hmm.
on my own, because yeah, it is a big decision, because everything is changing. And yeah, it's not something for everybody. So some people might not want to motivate themselves every day. Some might don't want to do accounting, finding clients, do marketing. So yeah, before that, I'd say 80% of my job was coding, and now I think it's maybe 50%, maybe even
Hmm.
less, because there's so many other things I have to do now. So it was a hard decision, and I thought about it for a long time. But yeah, it was a good time back then just to try it out. Especially as
Hmm.
a developer, it's not too much of a risk trying out, because you can easily get back and find a real job
Yeah,
if you want to.
a
So
full-time job. Yeah.
yeah,
But
but that's big.
have you tried to I don't know, get clients while you were still working full time, or how was the transition from a full-time job to jumping into just freelancing? Because as I can imagine, you need clients before quitting your job. So.
Yeah, true. So I'd say I was really lucky in that regard, because I was quite active in meetups on Twitter, in everything I did like the last years before I quit my job. So I I actually didn't thought about getting clients before I quit. So at some point in my head, I knew I needed to quit, and I did quit. And then I started thinking about the clients, which is of course not what you should do, but I was pretty lucky, because yeah, people knew me already. And yeah, the moment I announced that I quit my job, there were already people coming to me asking if I could work for them. So it definitely helps if you're out in the community, if you spread what you do, if you share what you do, if people know you. This helps you a lot to find new clients.
Like building an audience of people who are interested
Yeah,
in
yeah,
what you're doing.
exactly like that. And somehow I was building an audience without thinking about building an audience, because
Hmm.
back then this building an audience wasn't a thing for me. I just wanted to learn as much from others. That's why I got in touch with so many other developers on Twitter, tried to work on other projects, help them, learn from them. And through that, I got to know a lot of other people, and somehow, yeah, build an audience without knowing it myself.
Hmm. Hmm. Yeah, that came naturally for you,
Yeah.
it seems. Yeah. Uh, I want to ask you about time management. So I worked as a freelancer before, and then that's why I switched back to a full-time job, because I'm not good at time management. And as you said, you have to always look for clients and organize your day, motivate yourself, uh, be strict with the deadlines without having like a manager or someone to
Yeah.
tell you what the deadline is. So how do you organize your time, or how is a working day in your life structured or organized, so you can, complete the jobs you have?
So what I do is I mostly try to work in the same period every day, like my wife does. So she has a 9 to 5 job, or it's more like 8 to 6 or 7. So she also works a lot, and I try to do the stuff that I have to do in the same period of time, just so that we have more time with each other before that and after that.
Mm-hmm.
So I also like to stand up in the morning. I have no issues with that, and so it's quite easy for me to adapt my day more to her day. Of course, I also have to work sometimes on the weekend, sometimes on holidays. I mostly always have to bring my laptop to the holiday because there could be things that I need to check. And so for me, business is every day is somehow connected to the business.
Mm-hmm.
And when you're self-employed, that's just how it is. It's your own business. It belongs to you. You can't just shut it up, especially not if you're just one person handling it.
Mm-hmm.
But that's okay for me. And time management, as I mentioned, I try to do that as my wife does, so that we have more time together. And sometimes I have to work longer, or in the evening, or weekends, or holidays, but that's okay because I manage that it's not too much.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. And how much of your, I don't know, income or work is client work, and how much is, I don't know, something else like courses or any other content creation or side businesses?
Yeah, that's an interesting one. So I think, of course, this also depends on what you want to achieve. For me, it was always like I wanted to live from my own product. This was like a dream which I have now for some years, and I'm still not there yet. But this is where I want to be. So I want that most of my income comes from my products, which currently is not the case. So I remember the first year, like I think over 90% of my income came from freelancing. So in my first year, I released a book about chatbots. It was my
Mm-hmm.
first own product, my first book, and it was a cool project and a cool subject for the time about chatbots because there was a big hype about it. But still, it didn't sell as I expected. So that's why 90% of my income still came from freelancing. And
Mm-hmm.
since then, every year the portion of what I get from my own products increased. And last year was my best year. I'm really proud of that because last year, like 50%, around 50% of my income came from my product, and it was a huge success already for me. And I'm super happy that my last course, which is mastering PHP Storm, where I try to teach people how to work more efficiently with PHP Storm, with the best IDE for PHP, in my opinion. And I'm very happy that this course went really well. And that's definitely the direction that I want to go. Try to create more products. And I don't want to skip freelancing at all because I think it's very important to work on kind of real projects. So I don't want to miss out the opportunity to work on real issues, clients and companies and agents we have, because if I don't know how they work, what's going on in their life, what their issues are, I feel like I would miss something. And this knowledge can help me to provide more products to help developers, because that's mostly what I do.
Mm-hmm. But do you miss working in a company? Like, for instance, I love being full time employed because I have colleagues. I learn a lot from them. I feel like they're all 10 levels above me, and every time I submit a pull request, I get a very nice code review that I learn from it, and all of these interactions. Do you feel like you're missing all of these as a solo freelancer?
Yeah, I do miss them. In some way, I still have some of those. So, for example, with the current client which I have, I get great feedback on reviews on my pull requests. So that I have. I also have to say, I'm someone who likes to work alone. So in my last company, I always like to be involved in everything. So if I got a feature to do for an application and I didn't like it because I thought it wasn't necessary, it was not the right thing to do. If I had an opinion about it, I always wanted to share this, and I always wanted to say, hey, this is good, but we can make this better, or we shouldn't do this, we should work on that, or the naming or the designs or everything regarding the work that I did. I wanted to, say my opinion about it. And in my last company, uh, they were really cool, and they also liked it. But there are also some companies where they don't like that, and they just want the developers to do the stuff they were told. But I couldn't work that way, or I couldn't work this way. So that's why I like being working alone. I also like doing all the decisions myself. But yeah, the most thing that I miss is, of course, having a team around you, sitting next to you, which you can just talk about. Yeah, some code that you just did or some issues you have, and I still have this in some way. Like I'm talking to others on some chats to, great people in the community I can always talk to and ask to. So I still have this a little bit, but yeah, I'm missing that for sure.
And what about the tech stack? Do you usually take existing projects or new projects where you have the decision factor where you can just say, look, I want to work with Livewire or I want to work with Inertia, or do you have existing projects where you come and there's already an existing stack and you have to adapt? Which one do you find most in your clients?
So one thing when I went self-employed, which was like a goal for me, was to only work with clients that I really want to work with. Because in the last companies, of course, you have to work with clients that, you're probably not fond of, or you have some issues with them, or you don't like the product, you don't like the politics involved from the company and stuff like that. So number one reason for me having my own company was also about deciding who I want to work with. So since the beginning, I'm super picky about who I'm working with, because if I don't feel a good positive connection between me and others, the other people I work with, I don't want to do it. And I think it's something that I can do as a developer working remotely. There are many companies out there looking for freelancers, so you can also pick a little bit. Also through the last years, I've known so many great companies, and many people also know me. So it's a little bit easier now for me to pick. At the beginning of having your own company, of course, it's maybe not that easy. But yeah, nowadays I'm very picky about this. And yeah, if it doesn't work for me, then I wouldn't do it. But now I think what was the question again? I think I moved on too far.
If you have client like new projects or
Oh,
existing
yeah.
projects where you have to just tweak or add a new feature, so I was interested if you can pick the stack that you're working with.
Yeah, so mostly I work with people who are working with PHP, of course, and Laravel. Also, mostly because people know that I do this a lot and that I have knowledge in this field. So that's why most of the companies that I talk to already know this. So this is already a great fit, and mostly they're also then using the stack that I do, like Livewire. But it's also very different. So there was a stack last years where I was more working as a consultant. I was just doing reviews of pull requests. I had like an overview of the project and help if there's an issue, but I wasn't really working on any of the tasks itself. And now I'm very deeply involved in a project where I'm coding a lot with a second developer, and we do code reviews and pull requests together. So it's very different. The projects I work on are very different, but what they all have in common, they mostly all are the stack is always PHP, Laravel, probably Livewire, Tailwind. So the tall stack is what I really like, and what most of the projects I work in also use.
I know you mentioned already how you get your work, like being known on Twitter and people knowing what you're doing, so they approach you, they reach out. But how do you? That's always the case, or how do you find clients? I don't know. Do you advertise? Do you do anything else beside organic stream of customers?
Let's see. So mostly, I'm just working with 1 or 2 clients a year. So I try to work a little bit longer if possible. I also try not to have too many clients, but only a few, but very good ones, where the relationship and the works is really good, and the benefits both for me and for them in the same amount. So yeah, I'd say mostly only 1 or 2 projects, and I don't have to do much. So I'm very lucky that people contact me
Mm-hmm.
quite a lot. If or mostly if I'm looking for work, then I can send out a tweet, and then mostly there are already a few replies, and mostly there's one thing that I could already work. So I'm very lucky. So the audience which I have now built over the years helps me a lot to find other clients. Yeah.
Yeah, so you think it's important to have an audience on Twitter or any other social media platforms in order to succeed as a freelancer?
Yeah, it helps definitely for sure. I know there are people out there that are not that type of person, don't want to share, don't want to talk everything they do on social media, and that's okay too. But if you do it, it definitely helps. Yeah, talking to others about issues or finding clients. Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Do you have any, I don't know, advices for anyone who may want to jump into the freelancing thing? I don't know, things that they should be aware of, or I don't know, early mistakes that you've done, or anything you think that will help a newcomer to freelancing?
Yeah, so I think people should think a lot about if this type of work is really what they want to do. It's often the same with I always like to tell the story about gaming. People love gaming, but creating games is not always as fun as playing games. And people see people like me or others on Twitter maybe having their own product and think that's super cool and funny and easy, making money, and I'm selling my courses and I can go on holiday and all is good. But yeah, in reality, everything is a little bit different. And yeah, being self-employed, you really have to think if this is something that you can do, motivate yourself every day. If you're not working, you're probably not making money. If you don't stand up in the morning, you're not making money. If you don't, yeah, motivate yourself to do something, it's not going to happen. So it's everything on lies on your shoulder, and you have to be the person to motivate, to yeah,
Mhm.
push you to set that deadlines, to organize your task. And yeah, these are skills that not everyone has, and it's sometimes difficult. Sometimes people like to be in a group where there maybe is a manager and the manager tells them what to do, and I totally get that. I think that's also have a lot of advantages, and sometimes I really miss that again, especially on days where I can't motivate myself, which
Mhm.
definitely happens too. But yeah, it's different from being employed to being self-employed, and you have to think if this is something for you. Then, as I mentioned, having an audience or being active, sharing what you do will help you a lot to yeah, find clients, to show the clients what you already do, because I don't have to send a what's it called, a curriculum or something like that
Yeah.
to clients anymore, because they already know what I do, because I have open source projects. They can see the code there. They can see what I did on Lara Streamers now, which is an open source project, a
Mhm.
whole application which I built on the toll stack. So they already know what I can do or what I cannot do, and this helps. This just helps if you're looking for clients, if you want to persuade them that you're the right person, and this will make your life easier as a developer.
Mhm.
And the third thing, let me see. Yeah, the third thing, which I only started last year, is so one difficulty you have as being self-employed is money income. It's very irregular. So it depends on how long is your project. Do you get money the next month, or in 3 or 4 months, or every week?
Mhm.
It's very different. So it's not like before when you're employed that you get amount of money every month, which is cool because you can easily yeah, handle that. Think about the expensive. You know where you are. You know where you are in half a year. In a year, you can plan, which you can't do when you do freelancing. And the first year it was really strange, because I was working on a big project and I did get some money, I think, up front, and then it took quite some months before I get some more money. But in the meantime, I had to pay other stuff, which the transactions happen like every month, the same time. And this is a difficult situation. Also, not knowing how much money do you make. Is my business working good? Because with all the taxes and everything that you have to pay, and sometimes you get money and then the next year you have to pay something depending on the income of last year. So there are many tax
Mhm.
related issues which makes it very difficult to know what you're actually making, and is it better or worse than before. So
Mhm.
my goal was always to make it the same as before. So I think this was the level which I wanted to achieve, and then from there I can grow. But it was difficult to compare. And so what I did since last year is I'm paying myself money every month. So it's like a salary similar to what I had before. It's now a little bit lower because I can't I can't really plan that well, and I want the amount to be low enough that I don't run into any liquidation. Is this a
Yeah,
word?
yeah.
I guess you know what, any issues with that. So, but it helps me much more to give me like more money, I gave myself now because of last year, which was really well. Now I got a, what is it called if you get some more money for your salary?
Yeah, raise.
I raised my income, which feels really cool because I decided it myself to raise my income. And it helps me a lot to plan everything, also regarding my mortgage and other expenses which I have. So having some kind of organization in place is something that helps you a lot, and I would also recommend. If you're
Mhm.
organized person, then it will be better for you when you go this way.
I think this is a very important thing that you said. So anyone who wants to be a freelancer should understand that freelancing is not just about coding. You have to be good at many other things beside coding. So you have to take a look at yourself and be honest and say, can I do this? Is this lifestyle for me? Because as you said, it's not for everyone. So to avoid a
Yeah,
bad experience, just make a short analyze your lifestyle, your what you want to do, and if it's for you or not. I know it's not for me. I've tried it. It has some benefits, but on the long run, I just like being full time, and that's I think okay. But you have to just decide if it's for you or not. It is for some people, and not for people like me. Okay, what do you think about PHP and Laravel as a stack for freelancers? Does that help you get more customers? Like it's more in demand than in comparison with other programming languages or frameworks? Uh, what are your experience in this regard with PHP and Laravel as a freelancer?
Yeah, it's hard for me to compare it to other languages because I haven't used other languages much. So I can't compare it, but I know that the whole web, a lot of the web is supported by PHP. Almost, what is it like 70% of the web is being built with PHP, or even more maybe. I don't know. I have to check that again. Yeah, so there are lots of websites out there needing maintenance. So there are so many jobs. PHP also has become so much better in the last years with all the new features. It's getting more robust. Performance is getting better. You can really build great applications on it. And there are so many new tools out there, like Laravel, for example, like Livewire, like the whole tool stack, which I think is just amazing to work in PHP. So I know that there are many jobs out there that really need those skills. So I think it's a great place being there if you need to look for work, because there will always be work for someone working in PHP and Laravel, especially in
Mhm.
the next years. I can't tell for what's going to happen in 10 years, but the next 5, 6 years for sure.
Mhm. Okay, I would like to move from freelancing to passive income or
Mhm.
courses, side projects. I have read your blog posts, especially those about products, about your expectations versus reality. So I want to talk about a bit about these. So first, are courses good and profitable or worth your time, worth the time invested? So it's wise for someone who's, I don't know, freelancer, or even if he's not a freelancer, to start investing time, maybe money, in building a course.
Yeah, so let's see. Let's say you're a freelancer, you want to create your own products. Of course, there are many different ways to do this, but for me, developing and helping others develop was always what I was focused on and what I think I could do best, because I already code a lot and I learned a lot and I want to share the stuff that I learned. So for me, it was yeah, easy decision to do something in that regard.
Hmm.
And back then, when I started, I'd say books were more well known than video courses. So that's also why the first thing I did was a book. I also did some videos for that for that book as well. But I started with a book. And I think currently the main decisions you have if you want to help someone, I think it's a video course and it's a book.
Hmm.
And then what you want to do here, I guess, depends on what you're good at. So I knew writing is not what I'm really good at. So I also felt it with the first book. So I wasn't sure if I want to do another book again. And then
Hmm.
video courses, I also didn't know if I liked it or if I'm good enough to do this. But now, after with some practice, I think I do this quite well. And I think it depends on what you like, what do you think your target group is, and also what is the best way to teach what you want to teach. Sometimes, like for example, if you do something like debugging, if you want to do a course about debugging, Xdebug, stuff like that doesn't work really well, I think, in a book. You really need to see it, you need to show it to others. Also, how PHP Storm works. This is also something that I think wouldn't be good as a book. So I think the video course was the right decision here.
Hmm.
But yeah, to sum it up, you have to think about what you are good at, what you like doing, what you feel comfortable with, but also what you think is good for your target group. But of course, a book and video course are just two things of the thing you could do. You could also do workshops. You could try to be a speaker, get paid for really good conference talks. So there are many ways out there. The big
Hmm.
advantage you have with like digital books products that you sell is that you don't have to spend time to sell this. So you have to spend time to create it, but to selling it, just
Hmm.
everybody from everywhere can just buy it. So this means in theory, you can have this exponential growth of selling your product, and you can get much more money compared to what you have put into the course in
Hmm.
theory. In reality, of course, it's a little bit different, but of course, it's a good feeling if I'm on the beach, if I'm holiday, and I check my emails and I see I just sold a video course, which is like,
Yeah,
yeah, I just received some
passive
money while I'm
income.
lying here on the beach. That's really nice.
Make money while you sleep.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
So, what you learned from the experience of launching a course? What's your strategy now? How do you approach a new course launch? Like I'm referring to, I don't know, Twitter following, marketing decisions or strategies. What are your thoughts on all the process on building up before the course is launched?
Yeah, so it's now my third product which I'm currently selling. So the book about chatbots, it's not online anymore, but I still have my course about the core of Laravel and about mastering PHP Storm. And yeah, so this means I've created like three products and I've learned already a ton. And there's still a ton which I have to learn with the next products. But yeah, there are indeed a few things that I learned and that I want to share. So first, it's every product that I do is a product that I sell from myself. So this means you also could write a book and you could work with a publisher. Then the publisher is responsible for bringing the book to the people. And I know a few people who don't have a big Twitter follower, who are not well known on Twitter, but they write good books or other products which others sell. Then it's a little bit different. But what I do is everything I do, I sell myself. And the biggest reason for this is that this way I can make most of the money from it. Because if there's a big publisher involved, I don't know, maybe I get only 50% of my book sales, I don't know, but way less than now where I get like almost everything from the things that I sell. The disadvantage here is that, excuse me, if people don't know me, they don't know the product. So this means I have to be active, I have to be out there, I have to have an audience, do streaming, blog posts, conference, everything that I did already before creating products just for fun now is some kind of work for me as well, because I need to be out there so that people know me, and then if I have a product, people know me and I can sell it to them. So this is something that you have to consider, and it's quite exhausting. You have to do a lot of stuff, and yeah, the success which I have now with my third course, there's so much behind it, like the two other courses which didn't sell that well, all the work and the learnings and the failures from them. So yeah, there's really a lot that happened in the last years to make this one product now successful. And it doesn't even mean that the next product will be successful too. I don't know. Or if I don't have a good idea for another product, I can't live all my life from my old products because someday they're outdated or people don't need it anymore. I also have to create new stuff. So I think it's good to always know that there's a lot involved in order to make a product successful. Maybe sometimes you could do something and you have just luck and it works, but mostly there's a lot of work involved. And you also have to think about, if you go down this road there, you have to always be creative, always create new stuff. You also don't know how much money you make. So last year was really good because of my course, but I don't know if this year will be the same. So there's a lot of uncertainty in this road as well, and you have to be someone who is able to deal with that situation.
And how do you deal with expectations versus reality? For instance, I've seen people launching a first book or course, and their expectations were not met, so they just abandoned the idea and never heard launching another course or another book, or because they had other expectations and they think it's not working. And how I know that I don't know, your first video course or your first book wasn't necessarily a success, so you learn from it and keep going. So I'm interested to know, how do you deal with, I don't know, if a course doesn't go as you planned or as you expected? How do you keep motivated?
Why do I keep doing the thing even though it wasn't a success? I think it's a very interesting question, and let me try to think back to my first product. I still believe that this product was really good, and I still don't know why it didn't sell much better. I think the issue was that there was a lot of interest in chatbots back then, but there weren't many companies having actual work to do this. So everybody was talking about chatbots. Everybody was building its own little chatbot just to fun, but there weren't really big companies having like a real project where they get money from their customers. So it was just maybe just too much interest, but not many related clients that really wanted to do something. But we won't find out now. But I think that I knew that I still wanted to do this, go down this road. I still wanted to explore. And as always, if you start something, of course, the first few times you're probably going to fail. And that's something that you have to deal with. And if you still think you are interested in going down this road, if you're interested in this path, which I am, that's why I kept going. And with the first article, I also have it here, and that's the one that you mentioned. It's called the 963 euro book launch that made me wish to get back to my secured job. And I also have a lot of insights in here, what I think, what I could have done better. And then I also was motivated for the next product to try to make it better. And then the next with the same. And since I saw improvement from the first to the third product, I think I'm not on the wrong track. So something I must be right, because it's getting better. It's getting up. And I think that's also what motivated me to not stop, but just keep going.
Yeah, it's hard to for some people to, I don't know, recover from a failure. If they fail, they are ashamed. They want to pretend that never happened. So I think that's an important skill to have, to just learn from your mistakes and keep moving forward, see what you've done wrong, keep improving, and eventually it will work. And especially your first, not you specifically, but someone's first products. Like for instance, my first stream is not as best as the 100 will be. So
Yeah.
same, I think the same applies to courses or whatever you're doing. Keep doing it until your quality improves as well. So eventually, it will work.
Yeah, as at some time I heard someone saying, I'm not sure where it came from, but in order to be a professional, to be really good at something, you have to at least spend 10,000 hours doing it.
Yeah.
Something
Yeah.
like that. I'm not sure where it come from, but yeah, I definitely haven't spent 10,000 hours on creating products. So yeah, still there's way to improve, and I can still do better. And the more time we spend, we all have to make mistakes. And yeah, for me also a very important lesson was to just learn from the mistakes, because the mistakes are not useless. They help you to know what not to do, what you could change, or what is
What
not
to
the
avoid.
right
Yeah.
way, which is also a learning. And you just have to use this. And if you listen to TED Talks or other famous people, they always have their failures, and the difference is that they really learn from their failures and make it really better the next time. And I think that's what I also want to do and what I want to try.
Makes sense. Yeah. Okay, what are some, I don't know, you mentioned already about webinars or workshops or stuff like that. What are other forms of, in which you can earn money as a developer that, I don't know, you're thinking of, or do you want to try, I don't know, SaaS applications or even open source, having sponsorships, or what are your
True.
thoughts?
Yeah, I still have this dream of having my own SaaS application. I do have this dream, for many years. Like you're lying in bed and somehow you have this idea of this application, and you're making a lot of money with it, but you're still making a lot of people happy with it, and everything is great. So, yeah, I still dreaming about having such an application. But the benefit which I have now is that with those kind of products which I do now, they always have like a finish line. So the course is finished, the book is finished. Of course, you maybe want to update them, but overall they are finished. And with a SaaS application, you have to work many, many years. You have to put a lot of effort in, and they are never finished.
Yeah.
And for me, it's always difficult thinking about starting something where I don't know if there's a finish line. So do I have to do this now for the rest of my life? Am I still happy to do this in a few years? I don't know. So currently I'm really happy with the kind of products which I do now, but maybe this changes. But what else? Income? Yeah, GitHub sponsorship is a very interesting topic, which I think 2 or 3 years back we wouldn't even talk about that, because I don't know if it was even a thing. There was still Patreon, I think it's the other
Yeah.
kind of sponsoring ship. So this was still a thing, but yeah, this has changed a lot. And I think the biggest reason this has changed, I think, is also Caleb Porcio with Livewire. He is making a huge amount of money with a lot of sponsors he has on GitHub, which I think, yeah, before him, we didn't even thought that this was possible. But so, yeah, what is he doing? He has Laravel Livewire and Alpine.js. So two really cool tools which you can use for your Laravel application. And in order to get to sponsor his work, which is free, so both tools are free, but in order to, you can sponsor his work to keep him doing this, and you also have access to I don't know, I think the video course and some other stuffs. And yeah, somehow this worked so well. I'm not sure if he even expected it to work that well. And sometimes I think, okay, is it just this unique situations where this works so well? Or are there others where this could work as well too? I also thought a lot about, should I do something with GitHub sponsors, like having my streams only for people who are sponsoring me, or maybe provide some special content for GitHub sponsors. So yeah, there are many ways to make money, but it's also difficult to find a way that really fits, because I like doing streams, and I like everybody who wants to join the streams just go to the stream. So I don't want to have this access on top of it. But also somehow I have to make money with the things that I do. I spend a lot of time in things where I don't get money, like blogging, streaming. I have my podcast, interviews, maybe things like today. So many things I do where I don't get money. And it's okay because I get money from somewhere else, but the amount I spend in time is much more than I could do just for doing it for free. So I'm doing this because I know somehow else I get more money in through all the things that I do. I don't know if it is my next product, if it is someone seeing me here and then being a client, and maybe we'll work in the future together. So there are many ways this could also be beneficial for me. And you always have to decide what works best for you. So GitHub sponsoring, I think it's a cool thing that everybody is starting to explore how it works. And we see good examples like Caleb Prosio and others. But yeah, I'm not sure if it's something for me. But yeah, there are different things like that out there. Like we also talked about workshops. I could do some workshops about Laravel, for example, or about testing, or about mastering PHP Storm, all the topics that I have in my other products. But personally, I don't feel, I think I wouldn't feel super comfortable doing workshops, being engaged with a lot of people all the time. Sometimes I prefer just, being alone, recording my videos, and then just releasing them without this interactivity all the time, which I sometimes like in some situations. But if you have, like 20 people who are watching you and they want to interact with you, so it's a different kind of teaching. I'm not sure if this would really fit me. So again, you have to think about what fits you well and what works for you. And I think there are also probably many other ways which I haven't tried yet and which I maybe have to try. But as always, it's this trial and error way you have to go and see what do you like, what fits you. You have to test it. What is the outcome? Is it good? Do you want to do it again, or do you want to try something different? And it's the same with me every year. So last year I started streaming. I didn't know if I could do it because I was really nervous before all the sessions, but somehow I think I like it also because it feels like I have other people around me. It's a little bit like having a team. And now with every stream I have, there are at least a few people writing comments, helping me if I have issues. We are discussing stuff. So you don't know how it is before you try it out. And every year I try out some new stuff, and I don't know what I will do in a few years, but because every year is a little bit different. But I think you also have to be open for new things and trying out different things and see what works and what is beneficial for you and also what makes you happy.
Yeah, makes sense. And what about Lara Streamers? Has that been proven to be beneficial in your, I don't know, freelancing? Have you got any new clients or exposure to different people, new relationship based on seeing you building Lara Streamers? Or
Lara Streamers is a good example because like the best ideas, they come up from a need which you have. So when I started streaming, I had the issue that I didn't know when other people were streaming. And if,
Mm-hmm.
for example, Frake was streaming, I didn't want to stream at the same time, because then maybe people who would watch us both would then have to split. And
Mm-hmm.
especially if with streaming where you don't have too many people currently watching, you don't want to share them. And out of this idea, I had this prototype of Lara Streamers, just a list with everybody when they are streaming, and then you can see, oh, they are streaming then, and also to have this kind of overview, when are people streaming, because currently you have to go to his YouTube channel and her YouTube channel and then check out when they are streaming. And now with Lara Streamers, you can just go to the site and see when they are streaming. So the initial idea was just because it helped me and made my life easier.
Mm-hmm.
And then I started as a little prototype. Then I thought it would be fun to program this together on the streams. So I had a need for something. I could use the need for streaming, which also is cool for everybody watching because it's something real I want to do. And then we are coding a whole application from beginning to end, TDD, Livewire, Tailwind CS, super cool stuff, integration, analysis, static analysis, super cool things included, which was interesting for me to check out, interesting for others. So it was one of those situations where somehow everything felt like, hey, this just works, this just flows, and it's a cool thing. And regarding if how it helped me already in many ways. First, I have this project which helps me personally. Then I learned so many things on the way doing this by streaming and discussing decisions which I did on the stream with others. I learned a lot about that. And yeah, do I reach more people through it? I don't know. You don't really notice really with the blog, the newsletter, the podcast. So
Mm-hmm.
you don't really know which one triggers helping you in some way. So there's no that. So I didn't make any money. So there wasn't anyone coming here. Hey, here's some money. Lara Streamers is cool. Here, have it. But I also have a few GitHub sponsors now. I think it's
Mm-hmm.
maybe 4 or 5. I tell people that if they want me to do more of the things I do in my free time, like streaming, the podcast, and stuff like that, they can support me. They don't have to, but the more they do, the more I can spend time on those things. So yeah, I have a few sponsors here as well. So maybe through Lara Streamers, I have the sponsors, but it's difficult to tell in which way it helped me already, besides the things that I already mentioned, where I learned a lot just while creating and sharing the process.
Yeah, at least Lara Streamer serves as a good portfolio project for you, and
Yeah,
also a way to I don't know, provide content for upcoming streams. You have topics
yeah.
to cover now, so at the same time working on your personal project. So I can see the benefits of having a pet project of your own and keep working on it. That's good.
It's also super cool to tell people, hey, this is a project from beginning to end, all open source, all those cool tools integrated. This is how I would currently build this project. And you don't have too many examples of such projects which are actually live. So I think it's a very
Mhm.
cool resource just to check out how we did this part or that part.
Mhm. And since we're talking about Lara streamers, I would like to talk a bit about streaming in general. You said you started streaming last year, and I wanted to ask, how is your YouTube channel? If you have any advices for someone new, like myself, you gave me already some advices, but for anyone new, what is, I don't know, minimum gear that they have to have, or anything relevant to what they should know about streaming before starting?
Okay, where do I start? Let's say I think streaming is super cool as a viewer, learning from others doing stuff really live, seeing how their thinking process is, how they what they do if they ran into issues. So it's very different from a video course where everything is cut super perfect. There are no issues, everything works. And with streaming, it's like a real world life situations. And we see streaming is already super big in gaming. It's really impressive how big it is in gaming. I didn't understand it for a long time, but now I'm also watching from time to time. And I think the same will happen for programming in 1 or 2 years. And I'm pretty sure it will become much bigger because it's a very cool resource for, like I mentioned, for the viewer to learn, to share, to be interactive with someone. So it's also this kind of, hey, we're in a kind of little community now doing the stream. Tell me what you do. Tell me how you would go about this approach. So it's also this overall community feeling, not being alone, doing something together, which I think many people appreciate, especially in current times where a lot of people are at home and alone, home office. So I think that's what they like. And from a streamer perspective, it's also super cool because, as I mentioned, I just learn a lot just by trying to explain everything I do. It helps me to get better at speaking. It helps me to get better at explaining. It helps me by the comments I get from the viewers telling me, hey, you could also try this or try that approach. Then we discuss it. So I think it's beneficial for both the viewer and streamer at the same time. So that's why I think from that perspective, it's very important and a cool thing to do. Regarding how to start streaming, I also have a live stream about this. Maybe we can also link it then later, where I also talk about this in detail. But I think the most important thing if you want to start streaming is to use something where you don't have to think too much about all the tech being involved, because being live is already quite stressful, and then have to deal with maybe all the buttons, transitions, and everything you have to do in between could be a little bit too much. That's why I also recommended StreamYard to you, a software which you can use through the browser, which is very easy to set up. And this way, it's very good to get into streaming without the hurdle of all the technical stuff.
Yeah.
And I think,
it works great. StreamYard for me, it's very easy. Just as you said, in the browser, few clicks, and you're live. You don't have to worry about I don't know, encoding software or any advanced stuff.
Also, the resources on your computer are much less, and it's also you don't have to install any software, so there are many advantages.
And you can just I don't know, improve, and as you grow you can just I don't know, switch software as you understand things better, or it makes sense.
So also what you already did looks really nice. You have your own layouts already, so you're also very good for your first stream. But even if you don't have that, there are things that you can use from StreamYard, also like the intro with the 30 seconds countdown, things like that, which makes it really easy to start. And besides the software side, I think you also ask about the gear and the other stuff.
Some minimum like for beginning.
Like I've seen for myself, I've been investing already quite a lot in the last years in my gear. So I have here the thing, a Stream Deck with some buttons where I can just change the lights here. For example, I have very big lights here. Also for the back, I have my hue light, which I can change. I have here my microphone arm with my Shure microphone, which is not the most expensive, but also not too but just a little bit expensive. I have here a big camera, so there are a lot of things that you can do. But the most important thing I would say is getting a good microphone. It doesn't have to be the most expensive, but if your camera quality is just the one from your laptop, I think it's okay for the first streams, because mostly people will listen to your voice, and if that's the one thing that needs to be better for sure. And also, when you, for example, if you're doing a live stream of you coding, then most of what you see would be your screen, and your face probably is only like a little circle somewhere at the bottom. So it doesn't matter if the quality of your camera is not that well. But microphone, I think, is important. I can't really tell which ones you should check. I think on Transistor FM, which is a podcast software which I use, they have quite some good recommendations for every for every budget that you have. Maybe we can link that as well. And they have a
Yeah.
few microphones there, which are pretty cool just for starting or getting better, and just going time by time and step by step. I also started very low with the webcam from my computer and a very cheap microphone. And then you can, if you like doing a stream and you want to do this more often, then you can improve step by step, and you don't have to set everything up super perfect with the first stream, because it wouldn't make sense.
I will make sure I will link those articles in the description here. I'm also using Transistor. I've seen that article. That's really helpful. You don't have to have the fanciest gear to just go streaming or podcasting. So just give it a try. Okay, so in the end, I will want to, before call it a day, I want to talk a bit about your upcoming course. I've seen, I'm subscribed to your newsletter, so I got some interesting news in my email, I think yesterday or the other day. So if you want to share some thoughts about what you're up to, what you're building, and when to expect it.
Yeah. So for everybody in my newsletter list, they already got a little mail telling a little bit about my next upcoming project, which I don't really want yet to tell too much about it, because there's still a few things that I don't want to tell right now. But I'm already working on something new, which I think is super exciting, because the last year I wanted to do another product and I just didn't have a good idea. And now I think I have a good idea finally, and I'm finally in the working mood for my next product, which would then be my fourth one, which I think is already pretty cool. But I can already tell it will be about refactoring in PHP. And refactoring is something that I've now done for many years, and I think I found a very good way for me to use refactoring as a daily tool to write better code, to write cleaner, simpler, more readable code. And I think it's the best tool out there with refactoring to achieve that. And I want to try to pick everything I've learned in the last years about refactoring and form it to something that's useful to others to use those techniques too.
Okay, Christoph, thank you very much for your time. I appreciate that you accepted the invitation. Before we end the stream, can you tell people where they can find you, how they can be up to date with what you're doing and follow you?
Yeah, sure. Thanks again for inviting me. It was a lot of fun. Good questions, and I hope it was interesting and useful for the others watching. Mostly people can find me on Twitter. I'm quite active. It's twitter.com/Christoph Rumpel, just my name in one word together. Then I also have a blog, christoph-rumpel.com. Maybe we can also link this one.
Yeah.
And I also have a podcast like you, Call It a Day, like you mentioned already, as a little side joke, where I also try to share a few things, and on YouTube as well. So I think I'm everywhere. So maybe I just send you all the links and we put it in the show notes. And there are a lot of places to find me, but Twitter is for sure the best place to know about the things that I do and follow the stuff. And so check that out for sure.
Okay, thank you again, and see you all guys next time.
Thank you so much.
Bye.
Bye.